If I mute a channel, it disconnected. Can you guys see me now? I don't know why the live disconnected. It's never done that on here before. Hello. Okay, you can now. Thank you, Emily. Yeah, I figured that out last week. A little bling for the live. It says the same thing pretty much, but I kind of like it scrolling too. And then it's less in the way. I was just trying to go onto the Discord and mute the notifications so you guys could chat away. But I'm afraid I don't really know how to use it, so I'm afraid if I mute it, I don't know, whatever. I'll just deal with it. How's the weather for everybody today? How was the weather here today? I didn't even really go outside much.
Nice.
It was nice. Cool. I went to school for the first time today, and I spent all day in the school building. It's kind of cold in there, actually. They don't have AC, but it's a newer school building, so they have pretty good air circulation, I guess. So they don't have like an air conditioner for the school, but it was still pretty cold. Yeah, I got one of my classrooms set up. I actually have another. I teach in 2 different schools. I set up the classroom that I teach in most of the time, so like 4 days out of the week today. That's the one that I feel most like eager to set up. The other one I'm only in 1 day a week, so that one I think I'll go tomorrow. That one's not like as near and dear to my heart. 103 degrees. Wow. Yeah, I know. I forgot I teach too. It's been a long summer of lots of projects, lots of firsts, and I am not kidding when I say I haven't thought about school. I haven't planned anything since the day we left school. Because the last day of school was the day that I closed on the new house. So it was just immediately from one thing to the other, and then it's been non-stop. Yeah, the summer went by really quick. Here in Croatia, it's humid and hot, but usual weather for the summer. Yeah, 12 degrees here right now. That would be Celsius, right? All right, well, I wanted to first, before we even dive into the diary, I wanted to share something really cool that one of the Patreon diary detectives is working on. Her name's Erin, and I think she's in the chat there. I see her. So Erin is the one. It says Erin B. Hi, everyone. She has started a podcast, which I think is so cool, and I have it up on here if anyone's interested, because we've talked about podcasts. I talk about the My Grandma's Diary podcast a lot. I talk about how I would love to make a podcast someday, but Erin went ahead and did it. So this is awesome. And she's going to, what's really interesting about this one is the My Grandma's Diary podcast. I feel like I enjoy that a lot because they go into depth about all the different characters, and they spend a lot of time talking about the stories behind every person. But what Erin's going to do is something different, which I think is really cool. And she's just going to read the diaries. So she's in the Diary Detectives group, so she's shared a few diaries with us. We've met Elma, the woman who wrote these diaries that she's going to start with, and she's just going to read the diaries as Elma wrote them. And I think, well, she said she's going to go, I didn't listen to the first episode yet, but I listened to the introduction and everything, and she says she's going to go, maybe some bonus episodes go into depth, but for the most part, it will just be Elma's words as they're written, brought back to life from the past. So I'm really excited. I already am following this podcast, and I'll be listening tomorrow on my drive to work, and I hope you guys will too. I'll probably mention it again later on in the live because some people pop on later, but I'm very excited, and Erin, it sounds like when you were talking, you were saying it's a little out of your comfort zone, so I'm very excited that you're taking this out of your comfort zone. This was out of my comfort zone too, so I feel you, and we all support you. So yeah. Anyways, we're on to May in 1947. We're like chugging along through the year. And let's see. Elma has lots to say. Yeah, that's true. That is the one good thing about, you got over reading on the microphone and everything. That's like the hardest part, I think, is being on camera and being on like recording. And then it's just Elma's words now. I love that. I feel like Anglesey needs a podcast. Like, I feel like she wrote her diary meaning to be read and enjoyed, so I might piggyback on you. We'll have to be guests on each other's podcasts. Maybe my grandma's diaries will join in too. Yeah, it would be really cool because everybody in the diary group, we could all join in too. We all have so much to share. Inks has so much to say. Yeah, she's definitely someone who, like, when you picture her nowadays, she would be someone who had her own podcast, or she would definitely be like an influencer or something. All right, so on the other hand, the Weatherman diary family, I feel like they're much more, compared with Anglesey, they're much more low-key. They're much more kind of stick to themselves, but their story is just as interesting. Oh, hold on, I need to get my keyboard. Yeah, and I keep thinking of this. We do need to get a Diary Detectives video chat going, and that will happen soon. I feel like things are winding down a little bit, so we should definitely do that. And then we can talk about those kinds of ideas too. I just think it's really cool that that group has turned into something where we're all creating and supporting each other, and I'm very excited that that we've all found each other. So anyways, May 1st, let's see, I don't really remember where we left off. So April 30th, the day before, was the warmest day they've had so far. Edna's been working a lot. She's been working outside and going to work at the bank, so Edna's definitely feeling better. I think there was less illness in the last month, but we'll just see what May brings. I think it's just going to keep getting warmer for them. So, temp 52 at 7 a.m. Oh, and I also I shared this in the Discord announcements group. I have a special guest today, but I don't know if he's going to make an appearance. We have Ian. Ian's always here, but we have, I don't know where he went, my cat, who is now my parents' cat because I moved out. Django is here with us because my parents are away in Portugal. So, we're watching Django. He had a rough night last night adjusting. He did not really enjoy being here, but it's okay. I think he's doing better now. I know he's doing better now. I've talked about him a little bit before. He's not like he's a loving cat, but he's not a cuddling cat. And he sometimes, if you try to like pick him up when he doesn't want to be picked up, he'll scratch, you know? But he's not like aggressive. It's hard to explain. I know he loves me, but we have different love languages. But when this is going to sound so bad, when he's anxious, when he doesn't like know what's going on and he's scared, like during a thunderstorm, or apparently when he's in a new house that's not his own, he is very loving. And he did not leave my side all night. It was so cute, but I mean, it's sad because I know that means he's anxious, but whatever. I'm enjoying it a little bit, I have to admit. Alright, temp 52 at 7 a.m. A thunder shower. Yeah, does that make me terrible, Valentina? He did, at first I just felt really, really bad, because he was, walking around the basement where we have his stuff set up. That's where we are now. It's, a finished basement. He was, army crawling across the floor, scared, and didn't know what anything was, and was sniffing stuff, and he was, really petrified, and I felt terrible. But then he got better. I mean, he's, lightly anxious now. But he's definitely way better than he was. I would feel terrible if he was still acting like that. My cat's... Oh, so this is not a new cat. This is my cat that lived... when I lived with my parents, this was my cat, so this is my parents' cat. His name is Django. So he's not the new cat, but this is a little training for us, a little trial run, because we are going to get kittens. Probably 2. But this is just Django. He's a few years old. Maybe next time you can get him some calming treats. Yeah, he does like his treats. We have a couple types. And then we also have catnip that we've been spraying on his little scratching post. We brought everything that is his with him, because he is an anxious cat. Like, we knew that it wouldn't be the easiest thing for him to come over, but I didn't think he was gonna be that scared. He also, though, like, we had just been in the car for like an hour, actually more like 2 hours, because I brought my parents to the airport and then brought him home. So, like, he had just like a really rough afternoon. So I think, yeah, it's probably a combination of the new place, new smells, new, like, everything. He knows us well, though. But, like, and then the car, because he's not really a fan of the car. All right, I'll keep going. Thunder shower about 8 o'clock. A strong wind blowing all day. Oops. Nellie came out this evening and stayed all night. Your barn cat just had 6 kittens on Saturday. Oh boy. Edna worked on Strong's books in the evening. Are you planning on keeping all of those kittens? Were they a surprise? Because I know sometimes a barn cat maybe isn't inside all the time. Maybe you didn't see it coming. Django is actually an indoor-outdoor cat, but where we are now, Ian and I, we're not going to let him out here because this isn't his home, and I would be nervous about that. But at my house, where I grew up, it's much more of a rural area, so he goes outside. And he's definitely, like, I'm a little bit worried once the anxiety cools off, like, he might feel like he needs to go outside, and yeah, he could run away, exactly. He would be scared. He probably, I have a feeling he's just kind of gonna want to stay inside anyways for the few days that he's here, because he's nervous already. He doesn't want to go to a new place outside. Oh, okay, you have 4 spoken for. She adopted you. That is adorable. Greetings from Lisbon. Oh, there's my dad. I'm frozen. I was just talking about you, Dad, and I was talking about Django. Greetings from Lisbon. Greetings from my basement. Alright, temp 42 at 7 a.m. Haven't let the furnace fire out yet. Django's doing well, Dad. He had a hard time last night, but he's better now. He's still a little bit nervous, but everyone's saying hi to you. I'm honored that you joined on your vacation. You have nothing better to do? Alright. Saturday, May 3rd. Yeah, and actually now, Dad, you're one of the people who are all around the world who join. Yeah, my dad is a fan. Actually, it was funny. I think I said this in the last live, Dad, but you were here working on the paneling upstairs, so you didn't hear me say it. But when I was talking about interviewing Jim Delaney, you had said, oh, is he in Fairfax? And I said, no, he's from Cedar Rapids, close by. And you went, oh, CR? I just loved that. All right. And tell Mom I said hi. Saturday, May 3rd. This is a long one. Lloyd, Francis, and David came out this afternoon. Yeah, casually. Isn't that funny, Rachel? Oh, CR? And Lloyd and David mowed the grass out along the road and carried some coal down cellar and brought in some wood chunks. I think that's funny because most of the time when they're using little phrases like this, like, oh, brought it down cellar, I feel like a lot of the things that they say I don't relate to as much because it's, I grew up in Massachusetts and this is in Iowa. So there are some things, just the way things are said are different, but it's funny to me that down cellar, that's something that we say. That, like, my family says that I don't think is something like a New England thing. I don't know. Maybe it is, but it's one of those things you say you don't think about. Down cellar. He went down cellar. Right, brought in some wood chunks. We definitely don't call them wood chunks, though. They went to marry something. Marry something's sale first. Now, this is not the same Naylor. Yeah, I think it might be Naylor. Is this the same lady that had a sale? It's not. The name doesn't ring a bell. I wonder what these sales are. Because someone else just had a sale, and it might have been like an estate sale. Hold on. Where did I... Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out. Jen, are you telling me... Oh. Are you telling me that I missed something? Lloyd, Francis, and David came out this afternoon, and Lloyd and David mowed the grass out. I can't tell. Oh, Whaler? Okay. Oh, yeah, it could be. Thank you. I'm just gonna put this, and we can probably figure this out by maybe the same way we saw the other lady's sale. Okay, thank you. It's hard to tell sometimes because I don't know when the comments come in and then I see them after. And then you guys are also kind of like on a delay. Okay, and it didn't go to CR. She worked so late she didn't get to work outdoors either. Nellie came out for supper. Lloyd and Francis came out about 8:30 in the evening for a while. Brought ice cream. No kolaches? Just ice cream. Oh, we're all sending pictures of our pets now. I love that. Okay, and then I have Rachel sent Mary Grace Smith Naylor. Let's click on her. Possibly her. So let's see. Can you guys see this? Yep. All right. So this is located, this grave is located in Cedar Rapids. Grace Naylor. And I wonder, maybe we'll get a mention of Roy. We could also, if we find in the newspaper, if we find that this sale is mentioned, and maybe her husband's name is mentioned in the sale, I wonder... No, okay, so I was going to say maybe her husband died that year and they were... But it's not. I wonder, I could go quickly on newspapers.com if you guys want. Hi, Allie. And we could do a little side research. So we're looking at Mary Naylor. And we are at, we'll put May 1947. And I usually just put Cedar Rapids, Iowa, because it seems like that's where newspapers.com, I mean, there's obviously like other newspapers out there, but newspapers.com tends to just have the Gazette for that area. But maybe I could just put Lynn County. Just in case, because they might have another one. Okay, so there's nothing in May 1947, but it's possible maybe it's mentioned in April. No, but one Naylor? How about May 1947? How about we do this? May 3rd. For sale. Okay, a cafe. This is an example of something that would take way too long for me to go through probably on here. But if you guys find anything on the Diary Detectives group, let me know. Because, I mean, the other one was advertised. I guess it all depends on if she advertised. But we will figure it out. I have a feeling this is probably the lady that we're talking about. There's Erin's podcast again. Sorry, I'm like fumbling here. Oops. Okay. May 3rd. Sorry guys, lots of dead air. Okay, Sunday, May 4th. We drove down to Oakdale. Oh, thank you for the gift. Is it Elise or Alice? But thank you. And LB. We drove down to Oakdale to see Aunt Anna this afternoon. And then came home and had a little supper. And drove in to CR. So CR is Cedar Rapids. So they're driving from Fairfax to Cedar Rapids to call at the hospital to see Mrs. Salek. And then we drove out to Lloyd's and spent the rest of the evening. So I feel like Mrs. Salek has been mentioned a few times recently, and she's pretty sick. Did we ever find out what? Oh, on November 29th, 1943, Mrs. Salek gave them a dressed chicken. I guess we can go through and see every mention of Mrs. Salek, but oh, okay. She walked as far as Mrs. Salek, so she's a neighbor. She brings kolaches. I'm going to fix that spelling. She wasn't home. They went up to the hospital to see Mrs. Salek. She looked pretty bad. But they didn't ever say what happened to her. So, oh, did you see Ian? Did he leave? I think he walked upstairs. I'll tell him you said hi. Okay. Spent the rest of the evening. Norman came out. Maybe we'll learn what happened to her. And took Ma in to their place for dinner. When we got ready to go to Oakdale, we drove into, wow, there's like a run-on sentence again. We drove into CR and took her along. I missed some. Okay, so that's usually what happens. If it's confusing to me, that usually means I missed something. Okay. Norman, it's hard to go back and forth, though. I hope you guys understand. It's hard to go back from the chat to the cursive. Norman came out and took Ma into their place for dinner. Okay. And then, after dinner... Okay. And then after dinner, when we got ready to go to Oakdale, we drove into CR, still a little bit, and took her along with us there. Okay. Not only did I miss some, but it is quite a lot of words there with us there. Okay. So we actually have, I always forget to show the pictures of the people because I know a lot of you guys have been following for a while, but this is when they're talking about Ma, that's who they're talking about. That's Emma Jane Gibson. So that is the diary writer right now, Edna. That's her mother. This is Edna Jr. That's Edna Sr.'s daughter. So whenever they mention Edna, that's basically who they're talking about, because Edna Sr. is actually writing. A little bit confusing with the multiple Ednas, but it helps to call them Edna Jr. and Edna Sr. Now, when I talked to Jim Delaney, who is Todd and Edna Sr.'s great-grandson, he actually knew both Ednas. So when we were talking, it's funny because a couple of times during the interview, we had to kind of stop and say, wait a second, which Edna are we talking about right now? He said that was kind of how it was. It was kind of confusing, but it's interesting because I feel like usually when names are passed down, it's a man passing his name down to his son. So it's I think it's cool that Edna passed her name down. And actually, Anglesey, who wrote the 1917 diary that I read, the name Anglesey is also a family name that's passed down a lot. So that's pretty interesting. We've got that parallel. Temp 42 at 7 a.m. Edna went to CR after 4 o'clock to get her hair cut and stayed in for supper. And Nellie, Irene, and her went to a show. So another mention of a show. That's been really interesting with this year. In the past diary years that we've read, they haven't really done much going out to shows and, the theater, stuff like that, movies. But it's been quite a few times now that they've been going out to plays, going out to movies. They got home about 10:30. And I do have a picture of Nellie and Irene. So Nellie and Edna, as we've kind of figured out, they had a relationship. So there's Edna. And then Alice, or Irene. They call her Irene here, but her name is Alice Irene. She's Nellie's sister, so hold on. So I showed Edna. Whoops, why did you zoom in to 1600%? Okay. I like to zoom in a little bit. There's Nellie. And then this is Nellie's sister, Alice Irene. So usually I guess she goes by Irene. But it's funny, you can see what hairstyle was really popular at that time. Yes, so Valentina said, you think that maybe they didn't much because of Todd's health, meaning like they didn't go out to the movies a lot because of that? I think probably, yeah. There was a lot more going on in their life that they had to focus on. So yeah, I think that was definitely part of it. It seems like it. We don't know, but it seems it's almost like things are going back to normal in this diary, it feels like. Or maybe not normal, but like more like the way they were before. I've had 2 different diaries where they spelled stayed, S-T-A-I-D. Do you fix spelling or type as is? I don't have a specific stance that I've taken. Most of the time, I guess I do fix spelling if I know. I don't know. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Like, when she uses the wrong form of to, usually I'll correct it just because I'm typing a sentence and I feel like the need to do that. Maybe I should just be keeping it as is. I don't know. Erin in her podcast is going to make a point to keep it just as was written, and I think that's really cool. So maybe I'll start doing that as I move on. But yeah, names maybe not, but punctuation, yes. I try to correct punctuation. I don't know. A lot of times I'll just leave the punctuation as is. And then the names, it's tough because sometimes I don't even know what the correct spelling of the name is, so I just kind of try my best to read it. And then sometimes it's just that it's difficult reading it, and other times is she actually misspells the name, but I'll fix names if I find out that they're written a certain, if I find out they're spelled differently. I usually try to fix them because it's easier for research and for searching the document. Like before, when I was looking for Mrs. Salick, I typed her name. If I had misspelled that in the document because Edna misspelled it, I might have missed that mention. So I think fixing the names is probably pretty important for me. I have come across stayed in one diary consistently, so I keep it that way when transcribing. Yeah, I guess that's another thing, Emily, is if there's a consistent, that's just how the person is talking, that's different. And I agree that would probably be something that you would keep. But yeah, I don't know. It depends on the goal too of like why you're typing out the diary or why you're reading it. For me, my main goal is I want to type it out so that I can research the people and the places inside it. So it's important for me to get the name, like the spelling right. But if you want to get the story and you want to get the most of the person who wrote it that you can, then you'd probably want to keep it. Yeah, maybe keeping both. That would be a good solution, Jen. Yeah, okay. Keep it and maybe put the correct spelling in brackets. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Okay. So this is another long one. For the podcast, I type it out just as it's spelled, but fix punctuation so it's easier to read. Yeah, that's important if your goal is to do a podcast. I find it sometimes very difficult, as you can see on here. It's hard sometimes to know where the sentence is actually going. And I mean, no one is expecting Edna to write perfect sentences either. Like, this is her diary. She can write however she wants. I'm not, like, judging her for that. But sometimes it can be hard if you're reading it in real time to, like, know where it's going and follow the sentence and read it with the right inflection or whatever. And I find that in the 1917 diary, too, because she just does so much in one day that she's listing all these people came to this, and then we did this with all these people, and it can feel like the whole entry is one run-on sentence, and it just is sometimes hard to read. Mrs. Salick passed away in 1950, Discord. Okay, I'll check it. I'll check that now. I have my great-grandmother's diaries from 1892 to 1955. I keep it as she wrote it. Yes, you should, definitely. Yeah, that is a treasure. Okay, let me check. We've got... Oh, yeah, okay, and you sent this old picture of Nellie, too. Hold on. So, first, let's start with Mrs. Salick. So, I need to make sure you guys can see it, too. Yeah, okay, so here's Mrs. Salick, probably. And then... Yeah, that's true, Karen. Otherwise, it's your interpretation. Which is important, too. But I definitely think if this was my grandmother's diaries, I would probably not be correcting things. Okay, I totally did not remember seeing this photo, so thank you for sending this. So here's Nellie. And so she's the superintendent at this time. This is the same exact year, so thank you. I'm actually going to switch this to being my picture of Nellie that I show, because this is a much clearer picture. I don't know how I missed this or forgot about this. Oh, we have another Edna. Edna was a very popular name back then. Okay, you never saw it either, Emily. We must have all missed it, because, geez. Alright, so now I'm immediately going here and adding this picture to Nellie's page. Yeah, that's actually a way better picture. I mean, this is a nice picture, if it was the only one we had, but this one is, she's looking right at the camera, you know? Nice. And that explains when Nellie is going to school and everything, she's actually going to work. I'll make this prettier later, but now we have a better picture of her. You remember it? Okay, she sent it a while ago. Yeah, I don't know, I think I didn't see it, but I may have seen it. That, Discord chat is just constant, and I feel like there's so many wow moments, like there's so many things we find that are like, oh my god, that after a while it just all becomes the same. And then, you know what's frustrating? I need to be better about when we see something like that. I still haven't caught up. It's my goal for this week if you don't finish it today. I won't finish the diary today, if that's what you're thinking. Or if you don't, I'll finish this month probably. I need to be better about when we find a picture like that, not just going, wow, that's so cool, and keep going with the research. I need to actually take that picture and save it, because then I know I have it and I can't find it in Discord. I have a really hard time searching back on Discord. I think because we send a lot of pictures and don't have a caption that goes along with it, it gets kind of like lost. So I definitely want to be better about staying organized, because that, I can't believe we lost that picture, or I lost that picture. Now we have it though. Alright. A chilly, damp morning. It would actually be better if I printed everything out, but I don't want to do that. After Edna got through work at the bank, we drove over to I'm gonna zoom in. Okay, I think I have to open the actual diary here. This is probably a town. Yeah, it would be a lot of ink to print everything. A lot of people, though, when they do their family history, they make a point of printing everything because it's physical. And I do like having something physical in front of me, but that is a lot. It looks like it says BAUMH. Where did it go? AEFNER. Now, the question is that a place? Is it? Baumhöfner, spelled differently. Cedar Rapids. Oh, a market. Okay. It's a market. Yes, Emily, you're on the right track. Look at you. Wait, what is it now? That's not it. Okay, hold on. I think it also is spelled differently than she did. A nursery. Okay, well, let's see what they did there, because that will probably... Does she tell us what they did there? I always get too ahead of the game. Yep. I need to stop doing this before I finish reading the sentence. Baumhöfner, or Hofner, I think it's actually an O, to see about evergreen trees for the cemetery. I find it strange that they're like taking care of the cemetery all on their own. Yeah, I know what a nursery is. I just didn't read the rest of the sentence. But it had said like Baumhöfner's Market, so I thought at first it was a store, like a regular store. But after we left there, we drove into CR to Ron's Undertaking Parlor. Ugh, they have like some terrible names for funeral homes. That looks like an S, actually. Undertaking Parlors, to see Francis's aunt. See, that's an example of me fixing something. I added a little apostrophe. Aunt who died Monday. So Frances is Edna and Todd's daughter-in-law. She's married to Lloyd, who is their son. So she is right here. And I guess her aunt passed away. So I hadn't heard of this place before. Ron's Undertaking Parlors. Usually it's Turner's Mortuary that they're going to. I wonder... Undertaking Parlor. Whew. Well, I'm not finding anything really easily. It also might not be exactly spelled that way. Hold on. Go back. R-O-H-N. I heard my Discord go off. It's the name of the store, not a city. The owners... Are you talking about, this is Baumhöfner? I'm not going to be able to find it. His name is August Baumhöfner. Okay, can I find... Here, this looks like... Yep, Baumhöfner, August. And he is a... something... some place. Or, oh, same place. Same place. Nursery man. Cool. Thank you. All right. So, we'll have to figure out more about this place. I mean, I'm not definitely sure that... I think, like, that says R-O-H-N-S. Maybe we're looking for, like, Roan's funeral home or something like that. Maybe she's just calling it the undertaking parlor. Anyways, that's sad that Francis is nursery man, I know. Oh, Baum is the German word for tree. Nice. Cool. I was just thinking of something. Someone's last name has that in it that I know. We didn't get to see her, as they said she was not ready yet. Ooh, that's morbid. We had Ma along. I'm just going to change that to a period. Now I'm hyper aware of where I change things. We had Ma along, so we had come home as it was starting to rain too. So it sounds like they didn't get to see her. Roan Funeral Chapel, thank you. I'll search that. Oh. We've got someone from May 10th. Okay, yep. Roan Chapel. I wonder if it's still around. I'm not seeing anything when I look up right away, but as we know, sometimes that means nothing. Sometimes it's there, I'm not searching the right places. But very cool. I'd like to get a picture of it. I like to always see a picture of places, but okay. We have a picture of the Turner Mortuary. That's usually where, when someone dies in the diary, that's always like where they go to see them. Okay, I heard it again. Oh, cool. An ad. 20th anniversary of service to the families of this community. Informal opening, Saturday and Sunday, in their newly remodeled funeral home. Ooh. In order to better serve the public, our chapel too has been enlarged. I mean, that's great, but it's just there's such a morbid edge to that. An open house at the funeral home. I wonder if the caskets will be on display too. All right, temp 38 at 6 a.m. Edna had the afternoon off, and we went into Mrs. McGee's sister's funeral. So that is the same lady, Mr. McGee's sister's funeral, Francis's aunt. And then went over town to do some shopping. We can also find out which aunt that is pretty easily, I'm sure. One of my goals is to kind of beef up the McGee side of the tree, because when I was talking to Jim in our interview, he was talking about how it was kind of like a dead end at that on that side. Like, he'd like to do more research about the genealogy on the McGee side, so I'd like to do a little bit more too. Distant cousin of mine is Mrs. McGee. I wonder if wouldn't that be crazy, Colleen, if you found out that you're related? Because there's a lot of Irish. And Jim says that the McGee side, he thinks that's where his Scottish roots come from. Thanks, Valentina. And thank you, Whitney, for sharing. We got home. Whoa, hold on. I totally skipped like 5 lines there. They went to do some shopping. We got a hat for Ma for Mother's Day. We got home about 5 o'clock Edna mowed yard until about 7 o'clock. After supper, we drove out to the cemetery to see if the tulips were blooming. Now I'm interested because as we've been hearing lately, it sounds like they've been taking care of the cemetery. Like, Edna was trying to figure out who was going to mow the cemetery. And now they've been looking for evergreen trees for the cemetery. So I wonder if they're talking about just their family plot. Oh, I just thought of something. Hold on. I wonder if they're talking about their family plot or if they're talking about the actual, like, entire cemetery. I want to go to Todd. I want to see if we see any, like, trees or anything planted around. Okay, I wonder if they're talking, I don't see any trees or anything, about just the family plot, or if they're talking about they have to take care of the whole cemetery. I don't know. I don't know how big this cemetery is. But now it makes sense, like, maybe they planted the tulips and they're going to check on them. I don't know. Maybe it's bigger than just, like, planting tulips at Todd's grave. But they didn't really mention that before Todd passed away, so I bet they're talking about, like, oh, we want to get some evergreen trees for around Todd's grave. What do you guys think? I don't know. Alright, so now we can move on. Thursday, May 8th. Temp 42 at 7 a.m. I put 2 screens on over at Ma's. And our kitchen one on here. I'm sure she's probably talking about window screens. Edna mowed a lot this evening. She just loves that lawnmower. We had supper about 7 o'clock. Edna, again, was having trouble with the lawnmower in the last month that we read. And I actually found pictures. We had found pictures before of the type of lawnmower that she's using, but I kind of, like I was talking about before, it got lost in the weeds. But here is a picture of the lawnmower that Edna owned. I want to make it bigger. Hold on. Bring to front. So this is the Eclipse Power Mower. This was a big deal back then that she had that. I guess they were the only people in town. And it broke a lot. Or they had to maintain it a lot and they had a hard time. Sale of funeral home equipment. Oh, okay. So what year? Okay, this is 1970. So in 1970, Jen is sending all this stuff behind the scenes, doing a lot of research. This is in the Diary Detectives group that she's sending this. The funeral home in 1970. Okay. They sold off all of their equipment formerly owned by them. So that must mean that they were out of business by then. Is it bad to say, I guess, business died down? It doesn't matter, I said it anyway. Temp 36 at 6:30 a.m. It froze ice in the bird bath. To make room for the... Oh, I didn't really fully read it. To make room for the freeway. Oh, so, but it said formerly owned by them, so I feel like, well, maybe they pushed them out of business to build the freeway. Where did that go? Okay, let's see. Sealed bids. Yeah, the State Highway Commission. Huh. I feel like they must have been out of business. Or maybe, like I said, maybe they forced them out of business. Supper Club Funeral Home sold to make way for I-380. Oh, so they knocked it all down. The times of our lives. Another interesting crossover there, because in the 1917 diary, Anglesea's house in Brooklyn, her brownstone that she lived in, was also knocked down to make room for a highway, so that's pretty sad. Temp 36 at 6:30 a.m. It froze ice in the bird bath. Edna went to a Mother's Day banquet. At the OES Hall. So that's the Order of the Eastern Star that they're talking about with Laura this evening. This is so interesting to me. Why is Edna going to a Mother's Day banquet without her mother? Maybe her mother is not in the Order of the Eastern Star. It was a 6:30 dinner. Edna thought they had a swell dinner. She also went to a mother-daughter dance for the Order of the Eastern Star, or for the Ladies Auxiliary, which I think is related to that, without her mother. She went with, what's her name? Vlasta Lockhart. Her name comes up a lot. Lloyd and Francis. And Francis's cousin came out this evening for a while. They brought me a lovely something for Mother's Day. That must be a type of plant. How can Edna be in the Eastern Star if her mother's not in the... I don't know. I don't really know much about the Order of the Eastern Star. I think it's related to the Masons, right? And I guess that is a pretty, like, family thing. I'm not sure. Or maybe she just is OES Catholic. Maybe that's why Edna Sr. didn't go if she was a different religion. That is true. I think I have to do some more research on the Order of the Eastern Star. Because I had looked into it briefly a while ago when it was first mentioned. But other than that, I didn't really get too far into it. But yeah, maybe it's something to do with that. Because that is an interesting tidbit that we learned from Jim. That Edna, the daughter, was Catholic. The rest of the family was Methodist. Or no, not the rest of the family. Sorry. All of the Delaney's were Catholic. Until there was a falling out between Todd and his family, and he became Methodist after that. And then his daughter Edna went back to Catholicism. So there was that difference. Like, Edna went to a different church. Your great-grandmother was an Eastern Star. Well, can you tell us a little bit more about it? Is it something that is always... So yeah, the Masons are usually just men. I thought that, like, something... I thought it had to do with something with the Masons, like, or maybe that's the other. There was another ladies group that was mentioned. Was the daughter married? No, Edna Jr. was not married. In fact, that was a point of contention in the family too, because she, as far as we can tell, had a relationship with a woman. So I mean, it wasn't like out though. She didn't. It wasn't like an outward relationship, but we can tell from the diaries, and it was something that the family kind of knew. Female counterparts of Masons normally take care of a lodge or a cook. Yeah, so that's the Order of the Eastern Star, the female counterparts of Masons. Women's group of Masonic husbands. Okay, that's what I thought. Now that's interesting why she's in it. I think Todd was a Mason. But why is Edna Sr. not a part? Why doesn't she go to anything? Because it doesn't seem like she does. It seems like Edna Jr. always goes. Let me just finish this, and then we can look up the Order of the Eastern Star, maybe. I don't know if we're going to find any, like, answers. I guess that says Gloxinia because it auto-corrected. Okay. Oh, how beautiful. Okay, so they brought her that for Mother's Day. Lloyd was to be in Omaha on Mother's Day. Okay. It's believed to be of French origin. Okay, so I just want to know why Edna Sr. is not in the Order of the Eastern Star. Or maybe she is and she just doesn't feel like going to these things. But I assume since Edna Jr. is not married to someone who's in the Masons, she must have joined this because of her parents. Like, how would she just join this out of nowhere? But then what's mentioned quite often is that she goes with other people. So maybe it's more like there are other women in town who are taking her under their wing and bringing her. I don't know. It's kind of strange. Maybe let me just do a quick search. I can actually open up the other diaries and we'll search OES, because I think normally that's how I don't think she's ever really written it out. We'll just see when it's mentioned. Okay, it's not mentioned in 1943. It's mentioned, Edna went to a mother and daughter. See, this is what's weird. This is so weird. Okay. Quite a nice day for a change. Edna went to a mother and daughter banquet at the OES, and I actually added this in because this was the information we found. That the chapter, like the name of the lodge or whatever, Vlasta Lockhart asked her. So this woman, Vlasta Lockhart, asked Edna to go to a mother-daughter banquet. But that's not her mom. So it's just kind of interesting. I remember noticing that and feeling like that was, that's strange. Mother-daughter banquet. And this is actually a picture of the Masonic Lodge. I remember in the Diary Detectives we spent some time searching for this. And this, okay, right here, actually I wrote, has since been demolished. But this picture was from like 2016 or something. So at that time, they had kind of let the building go to shambles and it was really falling apart, and they have demolished it. And now, because when we were looking up the address, we kept getting this parking lot. And we were like, what the heck? Why are we getting a parking lot? And we're getting a parking lot because that building was demolished fairly recently. And it's, I think, next to the Fairfax Town Library. Like, this is actually this is from some book or other publication by the Order of the Eastern Star. This is when I actually searched a little bit about it, was this first mention of it. I wonder if this is the same. Where are we in the diary here? No. So this is an installation for the Eastern Star. 80 members and guests. So that's like a pretty big deal in a small town. I sent Francis's obituary to Discord. I remember thinking it was touching that Edna went for Vlasta. Yeah, there must have been a reason. She asked her. Maybe Vlasta didn't have any daughters. Oh, maybe. Emily thinks she recalls that Vlasta's daughter died. Huh. I can't remember off the top of my head. But that would make sense. Let's see. She was a member of the Methodist Church. Okay, so we can rule out that it's a Catholic thing. She was worthy matron, so it sounds like she was probably at the top. Does it say anywhere that she... Francis's auntie's obituary. Okay. So Jen sent, the Order of the Eastern Star is the largest fraternal organization in the world, to which both men and women belong. So it's, I want to know how it's related to the Masons then. It is not a religion, but rather an organization of believers in a way of life to further enhance our own religious beliefs. Okay, interesting. So you can be part of any religion, and it's more of like a, that's cool. Okay, so let me open up this. This is Francis's auntie's obituary. Oh, her name is Addie. My name is Addie. She was 68. McGee, yep. Roan Chapel, there we go. Okay, what was I doing though before? I guess we'll look more into the Order of the Eastern Star at a different time, but it's very interesting. The women Masons, yeah. Worthy matron is a high-ranking position. It sounds like it, definitely. So it sounds like Vlasta was a high-ranking member in the Order of the Eastern Star. I wish I had her gravestone, like, easily accessible. It's saved somewhere, but I mean, she definitely has a unique name, so here she is. And it doesn't have any children listed, but I feel like, Emily, if you remember that, as you say, my memory is pretty terrible too, though. My memory is pretty terrible. Maybe we'll have to go back then, because I feel like if you remember that there's a reason, there must be something, and that would be really touching if that's the reason why. There must be something, because why would Vlasta ask Edna? They must be either very close, or they're very close, and there's a reason why, like, she would go as her, daughter, or in the place of. Not quite so cold, but we still have a fire in the furnace. Edna went to CR after work to do some shopping. Nellie and Laura came out with her. They were here for supper. Laura has been mentioned a lot. Maybe Vlasta just didn't have any daughters and wanted to go to the dance. Yeah, that's true. Maybe being a high-ranking position, it was like a big deal for her to invite someone. Like, yeah, maybe she didn't have her own daughter to bring, so she chose Edna. They were here for supper. Nellie brought me 2 nice geraniums for Mother's Day. I was gonna say, what did Edna bring? If all these other people are bringing her stuff, Edna better bring her something. And she does. Edna gave me a $10 bill for Mother's Day. That's funny. In true Edna fashion. That seems very Edna to me. Gave me a $10 bill for Mother's Day. Now, it's funny because we really can't tell how Edna Sr. feels about this. If she's, like, happy about that, or if she's like, yeah, everyone brought me flowers. Edna just gave me a $10 bill. It's probably worth a lot back then. A lot more than today, that's for sure. We need to find Laura's obituary to see if she ever got married and she was in that camera club. Yeah, that's true. I love that you do this. It's so cool. These little thoughts and stories can live on. Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely very fun, and it's like, it's cool to bring these stories back, for sure. And it's fun to put the pieces together. Yeah, back then it was a lot of money. Something that I like to do in the 1917 diary is that whenever she mentions money, I like to convert it. So there's like websites where you can type in, oh, $2 in 1917, what was that? What's that worth today? And it's kind of funny. She took 20, or I don't remember how much she took. I think $20 or something out of the bank, and she almost died. That's what she said. We need to find, okay, I already read that one. Yes, we do need to find Laura. We need to find out more about Laura. And I need to go back to and see, because it's so confusing with all of the Ednas. I want to see if Edna Jr. is closer with Laura or Edna Sr., or if it's kind of just both of them. Wow, there's a lot of hubbub leading up to Mother's Day. Now it's finally Mother's Day. This was Mother's Day, and it was quite a nice day, but rather windy. I don't remember Todd, when he was writing, ever mentioning Mother's Day. I love history, and some of these diaries I can imagine being interesting books or movies. Definitely the 1917 diary I picture in my head already as a movie or a book. This one, I mean, we were talking about podcasts earlier, because Erin in the Diary Detectives, she's made a podcast now. And, like, I just think that I want to do that. But it's hard. We'll have to see how Erin does it. And Erin, you're just reading the diary, so it'll, I think, be a little bit easier. But I feel like it would really be hard. Not easier, like, it would be easier not being able to show visuals, is what I'm trying to say. Because I feel like I would have a really hard time just reading and not being able to show pictures. But yeah, I mean, even this story, this is kind of, compared to the 1917 one, that one is like full of drama and, you know, just, there's things going on everywhere. This one's a little bit more low-key, but there's definitely a story here. And I'm sure any diary that you read, there's a story there, but we got lucky because we could have gotten a diary that was just day to day. He could have just been, or she, because now it's Edna, so she could have just been writing the weather every day, and that's it. So we're lucky we get some kind of story. Sorry, my keyboard is like squeaking down here. Yeah, the no visual aspect is nice. Yeah, because if you're just reading it word for word, you don't have to worry about that, about showing people. But I'm sure, I feel like once you get into it, you're going to want to. And that would be a good bonus episode thing, or like a YouTube page. But that's, when I read the diaries, it's funny it's cool to see how everyone focuses on different aspects. Like for me, I'm very focused on the pictures and the visuals of it. I think part of that is because I'm an artist and I think visually and I want to picture it in my head. But it's just interesting, all the different ways that you can do this. If they grew up in the Depression and World War II, they're careful with money. Yeah, that's true. Oh, did we see how much? $131! Wow. Love the idea of a book being in diary format. Yeah, it would. It would be very cool. Definitely. After you listen to it, it makes you want to see and know more too. Yes. But the interesting part too about that is if you don't show the pictures, which I'm sure this is probably a huge reason why you're choosing to go about it this way, if you don't show, the listener has to put those pieces together in their mind and imagine this person. And the listener has to be much more, like, they'll be much more involved in the story, I think, having to, like, picture the people themselves. So I think that's a smart choice. So yeah, it's just, it'll be really cool. I just can't wait to hear more. I didn't realize the first episode was up, so I'm going to have to check that out. You did that quickly. This was Mother's Day, and it was quite a nice day, but rather windy. Edna took Nellie into church and then stopped at Baumhoffner's to pick out some evergreen trees for the cemetery. Out of curiosity, what are you talking about? Is it a podcast? So I was talking about Erin, who commented right before you. She is in the Diary Detectives group, which is a Patreon group that I run. And on that group, it's a Discord, and we share all different diaries and research about this one, about this diary and other things. And Erin has decided to take one of the diaries that she's gotten, and she's shared with us. She's going to make that into a podcast. So she actually just started that. And in the very beginning of the live, I had pulled it up. So that's why you probably don't know what I'm talking about because you didn't see it. But this is the diary, the podcast. It's called Pages from the Past. So you should definitely, if you listen to podcasts, favorite it. Because she's about to, I don't know when her next episode is going to be. But there's already a few little what to expect and a little trailer. So you should definitely check it out. But she's taking a totally different diary. Yeah, definitely hop on that. This is a diary by Elma. And it's an interesting twist or change because I feel like in my live and like what we're doing now, we go so into everything and it can kind of, I feel like, get to be a little bit too much. Sometimes we go way too deep into things. And the way that Erin is going to do this is she's planning on mostly just reading the diary exactly how it's written and letting that author, I feel like by doing all this extra research and reading between the lines, sometimes you can lose the person behind the diary. So she's really focused on the actual person writing and the story exactly how it's written, never too much. Yeah, I think there's a place for everything. I think it'll be a really interesting way to approach it. Okay, so they went to Baumhoffner's to pick out some evergreen trees for the cemetery. she put in more garden sweet corn, beans, and etc. See, this is where I'm going to add a comma. Beans and etc. And mowed a lot of lawn, and later in the afternoon, so much mowing, we drove over to the cemetery and then out to see where the fire was at MacArthur's. Okay, so that's interesting. I wonder what this fire is. We're at May 11th, 1947. So I'm going to go on newspapers. I'm going to type in MacArthur and hope that she spelled it right. And we'll do May. Oh, I forgot a place, Iowa. Maybe we'll do Cedar Rapids. Oh, I think we found it. Oh, wow, we even have a picture. Oh, okay. So this is the fire that she's talking about. This is really cool. Oh, thank you. Thanks very much. I appreciate it. And if you don't know, I do post all of these replays on YouTube. So if you follow me there, you'll be able to kind of like fill in the gaps. But I appreciate you being here and saying that. So Fairfax Farm fire. That's alliteration. Fairfax Farm fire. Loss estimated at $8,000. So whoever wants to hop on, whoever did the translation, what would it be? No, not translation, but whatever. Whoever changed $10 into $131, can you do that, please? And figure out how much $8,000 in 1947 was worth. Thank you. Inflation, yeah. I was trying to say conversion. That's what I was trying to say. Whoever converted the value of $10, do that, please. And put it in the chat. I'll read the article. Fairfax fire attributed to a defective oil brooder. Saturday morning destroyed, sorry, I can't read, a 42 by 80 foot hog house. Oh, that means that the animals died. And damaged a 26 by 100 foot double corn crib on a farm 1.5 miles west of here. The place was owned by L.H. Posel in Cedar Rapids and operated by his son-in-law, R.F. Miller. Okay, that's interesting because Miller is a family name. Oh, Emily sent 104,532. Wow. Eey. So, Miller is a family name in Edna Gibson's, like, above Edna Gibson's family. So, I wonder if there's a relation. Hello.
Hello.
Ian's here. They said hi to you before when you were leaving. Miller had placed Oh no! Miller had placed 1,000 baby chicks under 2 oil brooders in the hog house Friday. The chicks were lost in the fire, which was discovered shortly after 8 a.m. The straw loft in the building speeded the spread of the blaze. Oh, that is so sad. Babies. Volunteer fire departments from Fairfax and Norway were successful in saving the 36 by 100 foot barn, toward which a light breeze was blowing, and limited the damage to the crib. Operations were hampered by a lack of water until neighbors began hauling from adjoining farms. Wow. A bucket brigade was formed to carry water from the cistern at the house. Bucket brigade. Is that like in The Little Rascals? When they all line up and pass the bucket? I think it is. Posel purchased the farm from Zach MacArthur on April 26 and received immediate possession. Miller moved in. Oh, he moved on the place on May 2nd. So he just bought the place. That sucks. $6,000 bushels of corn in the crib. Oh, the loss was partially covered by insurance. May 2nd is your birthday. Wow. So he got a nice big farm for your birthday. And then it burned down 10 days later, not even. Oh. An oil brooder. I want to know what that is. Does that have to do maybe with, maybe it's like a heater? It must be. Oh, oil burning brooder. Oilostat. The humane oilostat. Are you cooking something?
Yeah, I already cooked it.
Oh. Yeah, maybe we won't get through May today. We're only like halfway through May. That's some karma or bad vibes lurking around. Yeah, I know. I just feel bad for the little baby chickens. Yeah, provides every chick with real comfort and protection. So this thing, we'll have to look more into this thing because it doesn't look very safe. This was meant to keep the chicks warm. And I guess it kept them very warm. Sorry, I'm feeling a little punchy today. I'm hungry. You kept them warm all right, says Valentina. Oh, man. Dark humor, that's what gets you through life, right? Okay, well, that's still sad, though. I do feel bad. We drove over to see the fire at MacArthur's. Edna took Ma's dinner over. Blanche, Norman, and Norma Jean out a while before. I'm glad you like them. It makes me feel less terrible. Before supper. Home all day. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe we've been on for like an hour and 15. I have to tell you that I don't read ahead, but I do take pictures ahead of time, obviously. And there is a stretch of entries in June that are empty. And I can double check how long that is, but I think it's about a week. So it is okay if we stop not all the way through May. Usually I'll finish a month each live, but I am starving. And we've been like doing a lot of side research today, so I think that's kind of what's taken up a lot of the time. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't mind stretching the diary a little bit because this is our last diary that belongs to the Weatherman series. So I feel like it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to not get through a whole month in one live because I just want it to like not end. Yeah, stretching is fine. Okay, so we'll just see like at 7:30 I'll check in, see how we're doing. And I don't mind this because I actually really like to do the side research stuff. I think it's fun, and I think it's cool that we have this picture, and I actually, like, I could try to zoom in a little more. I mean, it's obviously not great quality, but it's very interesting. That looks like it could be smoke there. We could probably find some more articles about it, too. Next week is going to be on Wednesday again, though. So I know today was a little bit different. Today was different because it's his birthday tomorrow. So I'm making him dinner tomorrow. Or at least banana bread. He might want to make dinner. Oh, he's eating right now. How dare you?
I don't know how much longer you're going to be.
I went to the dentist today. Oh, I don't know how long I'm going to last. Valentina says, happy birthday.
Thank you.
So is Colleen. Nice. You had to go back to the real world today, and that takes a different kind of energy. That's very true. I was not enjoying the commute. I've been staying home. Like, I have not really driven, except when we went to New York. We drove a long way, but I've been kind of a homebody all summer. Edna went to the dentist today about 3 o'clock. And after she was through there, Nellie and her had supper in CR, and then drove up to Central City to get Nellie's car. It's always a car trouble, which was up there being repaired. They got home about 8:30. Lloyd, Francis, and David were out for a while this evening. They got some rhubarb. Lloyd was going to Omaha in the morning. So Lloyd works for the post office train, and he goes from Omaha to Chicago back and forth. So whenever they mention that Lloyd is supposed to go to Omaha, that's what they're talking about. I was just realizing that I don't think I made a live event for next week. I feel like I'm constantly doing this. I'm going to do this now, and I also want to tell you guys about something cool that I haven't made a video about yet, but I don't know if any of you saw a video that I made back in May. It was about a little tiny gravestone that I saw at a graveyard that's just said Little Freddie, and it was all alone. And I just, like, when I was walking around the graveyard for another, you remember that? Oh, cool. I was walking around the graveyard for, like, another research thing, like I was looking for other information, whatever, someone else's grave, but I saw that one and it caught my eye, and I took a picture of it, and I looked him up, and I found information about Little Freddie. He was a little baby, and I learned about his family and everything, and unfortunately the reason why he's alone is because his family, they had Little Freddie, and he passed away. He was only like 5 months old, and then after he passed away and was buried, they moved about, I guess, like a half an hour away to Providence, Rhode Island. Yeah, and his family, his father was actually very successful in the meat industry, so he was one of, like, he's a well-known name, I guess, in the history of Providence, and he owned a big house, and they were buried in a very beautiful and expensive cemetery. If anyone's from the Providence area, it's Swan Point Cemetery. But on the Find a Grave website, I had, like, linked them together because I figured out who Little Freddie was. He wasn't originally linked with his family at all, so I linked them and I added pictures. But there weren't any pictures of the family's graves, and yesterday I actually went to that cemetery. I took a drive over there because it's not that far, and I found them. So I used, like, they had the plot numbers and everything, and a map. So I used that. And sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once. August 30th is going to be the next live. I used that to try to find them, and it took me a little while, but I found them, and I took pictures of all of the gravestones, and I uploaded them. So next live is going to be August 30th at 6 p.m. So that, I'm going to make a video about that, but I just thought that was cool. A little follow-up to Little Freddie's story. And it's fun, like, for me, I really enjoy putting the pieces together, so it was cool on Find a Grave to actually add those pictures and link them all together. I don't know, do any of you do that as a hobby? Find a Grave is a really cool website and database. And you can be, like, it's kind of, it's like citizen science. Like, you get to be a part of it, and you get to add to it and fulfill, you love linking family members. So yeah, you get it. You get the feeling. Like, it's hard to explain. I know it's just on the internet, and it's not really, like, bringing anyone together, but it just feels good. Help us decipher a diary from 1947. Okay, so I'm putting the next event up next week at 6 on Wednesday. But yeah, so you'll see that video soon, but it was just a nice moment for me, and it was a very pretty cemetery. It's like, these kinds of things bring you places that you never would have gone to. Like, I probably wouldn't have gone to that cemetery for any other reason, and it's one of those big ones that has a lot of fountains and a lot of beautiful sculptures and monuments and things like that. So, and there are apparently some pretty famous graves there. I didn't really have time to look around much. I just had time to find them pretty much, but I'll probably go back. I have a feeling once I start really uploading the pictures, I'll notice, oh, these people in the family are also buried there, but I didn't get their grave, so I'll probably go back. I was surprised that they weren't on there, because the grave was pretty big and pretty, like, right on the side of the road. Not the road, but, like, the side of the path. So I was surprised that it wasn't already uploaded, but that graveyard is full of stones. Like, I don't know how many, but a lot. So they probably just haven't gotten around to it. A lot of the older, smaller cemeteries are 100% photographed, but this one, I think it would take a long time. It rained a little this AM and was rather cloudy and damp all day. Edna didn't get home. That smells so good, Ian. From work until about 6 o'clock. Did you just make it normal? Or did you do anything different?
Oh, it's just normal.
And after supper, she planted the first tomato plants and mowed some lawn. Most of the apple trees are blooming, especially the red bird and the crabapple. I don't know why I didn't know you could eat crab apples. I thought crab apples were no good. But I remember her talking about the red bird apples in 1944. I know, I thought about that, Brad. Like, too bad they couldn't be together. But that would just be, at that point, that would actually be probably, I mean, they probably don't have any family that really even remember or know.
Crab apples are just really tart.
Are they really tart? Oh, thank you. Have you ever eaten one?
No, but I just know that about them.
That's why they're called crab apples. They don't sound good.
Yeah, I learned that in the YouTube video I was watching about in the history of the peanut butter jelly sandwich.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes. The recipe used crab apples.
What else did you learn? Oh my god. He also learned that the original recipe for the... Oh, why don't you say it?
All recipes before 1930, if it's like peanut butter and jelly sandwich, it also includes baking the bread and grinding the peanuts and mashing
ridiculous
the berries into the jelly.
You know what's funny about that? In my program at school, I'm in a grad program because in Massachusetts, teachers have to go back and get their grad degree. Well, actually, this was an undergrad too, but my professor that I have all my classes with her basically, one of the first activities that she does with her group of students, if it's like her first class with them, is she says, like, this is a teaching activity. This is probably, yeah, I have a co-host, the history of the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Of course, it's food related. One of the first activities that she does to kind of like teach people the importance of like really explaining yourself, like how you, what is he scratching? How you think, the cat's scratching the floor. How you think that the students will get what you're talking about, but they really won't. Sorry, this is so distracting. It's like the peanut butter and jelly sandwich activity. So she'll get everything to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and say, oh, tell me how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And then they say you take the bread and you put the peanut butter on it. So she takes the jar of peanut butter and puts it on the bread. And then you have to, oh no, you have to open the jar. So that's kind of like, that reminds me of that the peanut butter and jelly recipe that tells you how to grind the peanut butter. Anyways, that was way off topic. Why don't we read through the 15th and then we'll call it a night. We'll call it a dinner time. But yeah, thank you, Ian. That was very historic. He was also he watches a lot of food-related YouTube videos, food and history, which is cool. And he was watching something about a Roman bread, right? In Pompeii or something.
Yeah, and they literally took a loaf of bread that was in an oven that was encapsulated in like soot.
And then they found...
literally took a loaf of bread out of the oven that still existed.
That's so cool. Can you guys hear that?
But it was a whole loaf of bread cooked.
A little overcooked.
Well, yeah. But it was the same like shape that they ate and everything, so... It
was the same shape of bread that they found in the paintings, which is cool to me. What a great crossover of our interests. We still have a fire in the furnace. I like those videos better than the car videos. Okay. We still have a fire in the furnace as the evenings and mornings are cool. I don't know if you guys could hear his bread talk, but he's actually making sourdough bread again, too. It's been delicious. All right. Last one for today. Edna and I went to CR this morning about 9 o'clock and went to see Dr. Foster about getting my glasses changed. I think we found Dr. Foster one of the last few months. I needed them changed as I had mine too many years. So many years. That's how I feel right now. I need to go to the eye doctor. I have not been in a few years. He said that, and I feel it. I feel like I can't see as well. Especially right now that I mention it.
Django.
How? Where is he? Oh my god, how did he get up there?
I don't know. It's a good thing
He's
I didn't
gonna
open the
break-
one that doesn't have a screen.
You should move the glass, because when he comes down, he's gonna break
Well,
it.
the other one-
Oh, they can probably see him! Can you see Django up in the window? He made his appearance.
The other one doesn't have a screen.
Good thing it's not open.
I know, because he'd get right out.
God. He's trying to escape. There he is. Yeah, sorry, I'm in the way. Is he gonna come down? Sorry for the mess. We're still moving in.
Not taking
I
any
promise we don't live
chances
like this all the time.
here. Stick your nose out there. That's about it.
I feel like I want them to be able to see whatever happens. He might scratch you. There's so many things going on right now at once. I needed them
There's a huge,
changed.
cobweb in there.
Do you think he went after a bug? Or he just noticed that that's outside?
I think he just noticed it was outside.
He said that I had good eyes. We went to Killian's or something
Cillian Murphy?
for dinner. No, K, not C. And then I would go to Cillian Murphy's for dinner. And then went to get me a corset. Ooh. I'd go get a corset and then go to Cillian Murphy's for dinner. We stopped at Baumhofner's. They keep going to this nursery to get some trees by the cemetery, but they were not ready. Got home about 2 o'clock. Hi, Cheryl. I'm just about to log off, but Cillian is red light. Oh, it is? It's red light Killian. I would go to Cillian Murphy's for dinner.
It actually
is Killian. I guess so, yeah. That's
I
what
thought it
Valentina
was.
said. Yeah. Well, I guess that's that for today. I'm very distracted, obviously. I think next week Django... Oh, actually... I need to make sure I know when I'm picking my parents up. Okay, it's not that day, so... So next week, the live will be on the 30th. That is a Wednesday. And Django will still be with us at that point, hopefully. I mean, he wasn't badly behaved during it, but he jumped up in the window for you all. And yeah, we're already in May, but we're not going to read through the whole month today. Where did he go? I wanted to pick him up.
Right there.
We're not going to read through the whole month because there's a little bit of a pause in June, so I want to make sure next week we get a good amount. And I feel like this week we spent a lot of time doing research, which was fun. Where did he go?
Behind the box.
I'm going to go get him. That'll be the last thing. Jingo will say goodbye to you all, okay? So many places to hide. Oh, my hand just grabbed. Here he is. Oh, not happy. Oh, he can't see him. There he is. He does not want to stay, but I'm probably going to go eat my mac and cheese. Ian makes lactose-free mac and cheese for me. He's amazing. Oh, he's biting me. Okay. Yep. Yeah, remember what I said? About how he doesn't like to be held when he doesn't want to be held? So I'm sad because last night he was so cuddly.
Hey.
Yeah, he's scratching the floor. Hey, stop.
He's going to be nuts after
We're going to have to give
days.
bring him back home. Yeah, it's diary day today. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately. It's actually a good reason. Tomorrow is Ian's birthday, so we had to have the diary day on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. I tried to let everybody know. I let people know last week, but unfortunately I said it at the end of the live. And then I also sent a Discord notification, but that's unfortunately the best I can do. But next week will be Wednesday as usual, and I will post the replay for you guys. And yeah, I think I'm going to log off now and go eat some good mac and cheese. But thank you, everybody. And before I go, make sure you check out Erin's podcast, Pages from the Past. It's on Spotify and Amazon Music, and probably, let me know if it's on anything else too, Erin, but I listen on Spotify, so I know it's there. But definitely worth checking out and following and giving a 5-star review. So, bye everybody. I'll see you next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And we will continue reading May. Ian, I hope you have a fab birthday, they said. Bye, everyone.